Hi everyone, it's Steve again from Vintage Classics. Today we're going to go over, I'm going to show you guys some Hostess baseball cards that run from 1975 to 79. That was the years that Hostess put them out in, on the backs of their products on the boxes. They did revive those in 93, and I do have some of those, but maybe I'll show that another day. Today's mainly going to be, like I said, Hostess baseball cards. There was 150 of them in total. I'm going to show you the 75s first, which was the initial set. I think the current value on the 75s run, if you had all, I believe there's 60 of them. If you had them all, they run about $300 to $400 for the complete set. They are nice looking cards. The Hostess, nice thing about Hostess cards are, even though they're not extremely expensive, they are unique. Something that those of us who grew up in the 70s remember them fondly, having your mother or your father or you went with them and to the grocery store and looking at the back of the box first and seeing, oh, I got these three, and going through the different boxes till you found ones that you either needed or that you wanted duplicates of. A lot of times you would trade with your friends. So let's go over some of those. I'll show you. I don't have any complete box, the actual whole box with the panels, but I do have some uncut panels, only a few of those. They're obviously more valuable than if you cut them, but like any other typical kid in the 70s, I trimmed them. So I will show you a lot of those. All right, so here's a few panels I have for you. Here's one right here with Bill Lee of the Red Sox, Jose Cardinal of the Cubs, and Gene Tennis of the Oakland A's. And that's a full panel right there. And then the back. The one thing about the Hostess cards, all the backs pretty much stayed the same through the 75 up to 1979 sets. Next up, we have a three-panel one of Steve Renko, the Montreal Expos, a team that doesn't exist anymore. It's neat to have cards from that team and other teams that are no longer around. Wilbur Wood of the Chicago White Sox, wearing the traditional at that time, the red and gray and white uniforms, and Davey Lopes from the Los Angeles Dodgers. Let's see if I can get that on there right for you. All right. And one more panel, then we'll go into some individual cards. This panel has Steve Carlton, a great left-handed pitcher of the Philadelphia Phillies. Darryl Porter, one of Milwaukee's, later on the Cardinals, also a great catcher. And Ron Say, Popeye, Dodgers third baseman. Okay. All right, that's the three panels that I have. Now we're going to look at some individual cards from 1975. First up will be Robin Yount. I'm sure you guys know that's his rookie year. Probably the most valuable Hostess card that they put out during that 4 or 5 year run there. So that's Robin Yount. Next is Cesar Cedeno, outfielder for the Houston Astros. And you got everybody knows this guy, the all-time hit leader. In my opinion, he should be in the Baseball Hall of Fame. And I believe eventually will be. Here's Pete Rose of the Big Red Machine. Next up, we get little Freddie Patek of the Kansas City Royals. Fred Patek was only 5 feet 4 inches tall, but he was a really good defensive shortstop in the 70s, covered a lot of ground. Then a local hero for, as you guys know, I'm in Massachusetts. For us up here, Yaz, Carl Yastrzemski. Next is Chris Spire, infielder, San Francisco Giants. Good defensive ball player. Had a long career in the big leagues with several teams. Next up, Mr. October, then with the Oakland A's. As a kid, I also used to enjoy watching the Oakland A's. Probably was my second favorite team next to my Boston Red Sox. Next up, you have Michael Jack Schmidt of the Philadelphia Phillies. A lot of people say he's the all-time greatest third baseman. Hard to argue with that, but you got to put Brooks Robinson in that group too, and a couple other guys. Next up, we have Lee May of the Baltimore Orioles. He had recently been traded, as you can see, from the Astros. And Topps in general, who produced these cards, used to airbrush a lot. You can see in his hat and his jersey was airbrushed over from the Astros uniform, converting him over to the Baltimore Orioles. Next up, another local legend, Carlton Fisk, Pudge. All of us Red Sox fans will never forget the '75 World Series when he hit that home run to force Game 7, only for us to lose to the Reds. And then we have Brooks Robinson, one of my favorites of all time. Great Baltimore Oriole third baseman. All right, those are some 75s. Now, 1976, I have quite a few. I'll try to go through them a little quicker for you. The thing about the 76s is, being the bicentennial year, they put the red, white, and blue strips on the bottom of the card. And first up will be Fred Lynn from the Boston Red Sox. I really believe had this guy stayed in Boston, I wouldn't say 100%, but I'd say he would have had a very good chance of being a Hall of Famer. Next up from the Cincinnati Reds, Joe Morgan, who is a Hall of Famer. Again, I apologize for the glare. It's tough to avoid here. Great knuckleball pitcher, Phil Niekro, Atlanta Braves. This gentleman just died a few months ago, Gaylord Perry. He was a character, notorious for supposedly putting things on the ball, whether it be gel or spitting on the ball or scuffing the ball. But he was a solid pitcher. From the St. Louis Cardinals, you got Lou Brock. All right, from the Pittsburgh Pirates, you got Rennie Stennett. And from the Milwaukee Brewers, Robin Yount. This is his second year. From the Cleveland Indians, you got Rick Manning. From the Baltimore Orioles, Bobby Grich. From the California Angels, Bobby Bonds, Barry Bonds, his father. Another guy who I think should be in the Hall of Fame and probably will be someday, I hope. Dodgers first baseman, Steve Garvey. Cincinnati Reds catcher and Hall of Famer, Johnny Bench. Arguably probably one of the greatest catchers that ever played the game. From the Pittsburgh Pirates, pitcher John Candelaria. Candyman, his nickname. From the St. Louis Cardinals, you got Ted Sizemore. Also from the Pittsburgh Pirates, Manny Sanguillen. Good defensive catcher. From the Milwaukee Brewers, Pete Broberg. From at this point, the Cleveland Indians, but more notably from the Baltimore Orioles for most of his career, Boog Powell. Big guy, boy, he could hit. Good first baseman. His card's creased pretty badly and stuff, but unfortunately, it's the only copy I have of Nolan Ryan with the Angels. Someday I'll probably try to upgrade that to a better copy. Also has some writing on the back. I don't know what I was thinking that day. From the Kansas City Royals, John Mayberry. I didn't do my best job of cutting and trimming this card back then, but still a nice card. Again, from the Chicago White Sox, Wilbur Wood. Massachusetts guy, knuckleball pitcher. From the California Angels, Frank Tanana. Hall of Famer from the Oakland A's, Raleigh Fingers, with the handlebar mustache. Member of the great Oakland A's teams. From the Cleveland Indians, infielder Frank Duffy. Hall of Famer from the Minnesota Twins, Burt Blyleven. Also from Milwaukee Brewers, catcher, again, Darryl Porter. You see the 70s haircut and the shades. Hall of Famer from the San Diego Padres, Willie McCovey, stretch. The Montreal Expos, third baseman Larry Parrish. The Atlanta Braves, outfielder Jimmy Wynn, the Toy Cannon was his nickname. Here's a guy I think should be in the Hall of Fame. For some reason, he hasn't made it in there yet. I believe he will someday. From the Pittsburgh Pirates, along with other teams, but mainly the Pirates is what he's known for. The Cobra, Dave Parker. Had the opportunity to meet him last year. I got his autograph. He's not in the best of health, so So I wish the best to him. And hopefully, like I said, he'll get in the Hall of Fame soon. Next up, there's another Hall of Famer, Catfish, from the New York Yankees, Jim Hunter. Probably more notably known for an Oakland A, but pictured with the Yankees there. Philadelphia Phillies infielder, Larry Bowa, solid shortstop. And here we go again, Mr. October. This is a nice card too, Reggie Jackson. Los Angeles Dodgers catcher, Steve Yeager. From the Boston Red Sox, our famous Carl Yastrzemski. Yaz had it tough. He coming up with the Red Sox, he was replacing a legend in Ted Williams, as everybody knows. But boy, he was a solid player. I saw him. I can really remember him from the late '60s. Like I said, I'm born in '63, so '67 I was too small. But I do remember the late '60s and then all through the '70s and early '80s. Cincinnati Reds outfielder, Cesar Geronimo. All right, that completes the 76 set. Now we'll move on to a few of the 77s that I do have. From the Minnesota Twins, Hall of Famer Rod Carew. From the Pittsburgh Pirates, first baseman Willie Stargell. This card unfortunately looks like coffee stain or something got spilled on it, but again, it's from my childhood, so I'll never get rid of these cards. From the Milwaukee Brewers, his third year now, Robin Yount. From the Los Angeles Dodgers, first baseman Steve Garvey. From the New York Mets, first baseman outfielder Dave King Kong Kingman. This guy was either all home run or a strikeout. There was no in between. Boston Red Sox shortstop Rick Burleson, the Rooster. Hall of Famer from the Dodgers, Don Sutton, pitcher. Hall of Famer from the Boston Red Sox, catcher Pudge Carlton Fisk. And again, showing off that famous mustache from the San Diego Padres now, not the Oakland A's, relief pitcher, closer, Raleigh Fingers. All right, and I have just a couple left that I'll show you. In 1978, we got the Pittsburgh Pirates first baseman Willie Stargell, Pops. And from the Baltimore Orioles, first baseman Eddie Murray, which this is also his rookie year. So that's also a nice card to have. Both those guys are Hall of Famers, as you know. And in 1979, I grabbed two real quick. From the Philadelphia Phillies, card number 9, third baseman Mike Schmidt. And Reggie Jackson, now on a card in a Yankees uniform, Hall of Famer, Mr. October. Okay. All right. That concludes the cards I wanted to show you today for Hostess. Like I said, I enjoyed collecting them. They were popular from 75 to 79, but they were great cards to collect. Again, collecting it doesn't always have to be the most valuable cards out there. You collect what you like and what you can reasonably afford. And then as later on in life, or when you become in a position where you can upgrade the cards, and upgrade them. If not, then keep them the way you are. I have cards from when I was a kid that I would never get rid of, even though they're not in the best of shape. But that's the joy of this hobby. You make it what you want to make it, and you collect what you want to collect. All right. So again, from Vintage Classics, this is Steve telling you keep on collecting. And until our next video, I hope you have a good day. Take care.